And I don't want to get beaten up either. So
I mean, we could probably save it all for the podcast, but there's ways to keep each other safe. Like when I throw a punch, I'm always twisting. I'm coming in and but when you speed it up, it looks like I'm really getting in close, but I'm always bringing the momentum in ways that I'm not going to punch someone in the head.
Yeah,
there's
for sure.
There's a million things that we do to keep yourself safe, but at a certain point, you still just kind of have to smack someone.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're gonna get into it. We've got ahead of ourselves already. All right. You ready?
Ready.
Perfect. Okay. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Toe the Line. Today's guest, my first ever wrestler that I'm interviewing. Will, welcome to Toe the Line.
Thank you for having me. Very excited to be here.
I'm really excited to have you. I was saying to you before we started that I've known nothing about wrestling. I've had very limited exposure to WWE, and I feel like that's pretty like people's general kind of consumption of wrestling who aren't in like the wrestling scene. Would that be like a good assumption?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's what I do. It's John Cena, it's The Rock, it's Hulk Hogan. That's the stuff that people
do. You have like your own like stage name?
I do. I'm Will Stone. I'm Showtime Will Stone.
Love it. How fun. Did you come up with that one by yourself or?
It's a lot of workshopping.
Yeah.
So I've been in wrestling for 7 years.
Yeah.
And you kind of, it's like a soap opera, like Coronation Street or Shortland Street. Chris Warner is still Chris Warner. He's been Chris Warner for 25 years, but that character's changed a lot over that time. And so I've always been Will Stone, but the version of Will Stone that I've been has changed over those 7 years.
Nice. I love that. Well, before we get into everything, how we met is kind of a bit unnatural.
Bit of an odd one.
Yeah, we met like 2 minutes before you took me and a group of others like 27 metres above Auckland City.
Nice and high.
Yeah, it was super interesting. I wasn't that nervous to go up to 27 metres because like, I'd seen pictures and stuff before I went up. But going out onto that ledge, and I remember handing you my phone, I was like, can you just take a picture? Like, just do whatever. I don't know what to do, but just take something.
Yeah, get some content for me.
Yeah, just get whatever and let's hope I don't fall off.
No one thinks it's that high, 27 metres, but it's when you look down and you see how small everything else now is. You get that context for how high up you are. That's
and then like we were looking out over top of like the ASD building, like right on the waterfront and stuff, and then you're like, oh, like this is quite high up.
I wasn't nervous at all by that point.
How many times had you been up there by that point?
Plenty of times, yeah. The first time I was terrified, but by that point I've been doing it all day. So.
Did you know that you were going to be doing that before the weekend started, or?
I found out that morning that I was going to be doing that all day, so I didn't have time to stretch. And that night I actually pulled both my calves and my hammies on both legs trying to get out of bed, just from going up and down 27 metres.
How many times? Because you said there was like 140 steps or something.
I can't even remember, something like that.
How many did you do that day?
I think I went up about 15, 20 times.
Oh my God.
And I didn't stretch. And I didn't drink enough water.
Yeah.
And I wasn't hydrated.
Did you drink any Red Bull or no?
I had a couple.
Okay, that's good.
I had a couple. Had to.
Yeah.
Got to put out for the brand. It was not a fun Saturday
I can't believe
night.
you found out that morning. That's so funny.
Well, I mean, you turn up, you get given a job, and that was my job. I was happy to help it.
And so you were like, okay, yep, we're just going to do it.
I thought it was going to be a lot of fun. It was.
Yeah.
The aftermath, a little bit less so.
Yeah.
And then the next day, I just got to stand around looking after the friends and family of the athletes.
Nice.
But I was having to sort of lean back and forth, stretch out my legs a little bit.
Just like do some like gentle rocking, like, and they still here.
Yeah, a little bit. I was really happy I didn't have to do too much walking on Sunday.
Nice. Okay, well, I'm glad. Before we get into everything, and probably the most important question, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm good.
Trucking along?
Trucking along. Life is probably for me personally like the best it's been.
Yeah?
In a good while for me.
Oh, I'm glad.
Pretty happy.
I know, I can't believe we're in March as well now. How crazy is that?
I'm less happy about how fast the year's going. I'm more happy about where I'm at, but the fact that it's flying by is a bit scary.
Do you find that when you were younger, you'd always want like life to go fast? Like you just wanted to get like to like a certain age and be like, yes, I can do whatever I want now. But now that you're older, you're like, it's going way too quickly.
I definitely can't do whatever I want. I saw a tweet this morning. It was someone, their child was saying, man, I can't believe you're an adult and you get to do whatever you want. And the dad was on his way to drop them off at a football game. It's like, I really can't, man.
Yeah.
I got all these other things that I have to do. The only thing that I don't have to do is go to school.
Yeah.
But everything else just takes the place of that.
Yeah. Always got to life gets you good sometimes. Before we get into all the wrestling stuff, and I'm really excited to get into it, can you tell me a little bit about your childhood, your school life? What was that all like? Did you play any sports in school? Like, give me the whole rundown of Will as a youngster.
All right. how was your life as a youngster? I grew up in a very small town called Te Pahu, which is in the shadow of Mount Pirongia in the mighty Waikato. A little bit between Hamilton and Raglan.
Okay.
Not a lot of people have heard of Te Pahu,
No, I
but
don't
I'd
think.
like to think I'm the third most famous person. Hopefully after this podcast,
Okay.
I'll submit myself as the third most
Who are
famous.
the two in front of you?
Laura Langman,
Okay.
former
Yeah.
Silver Fern,
Yeah.
Waikato Bay Plenty Magic player, and number one's always going to be Helen Clark. So I've got no shot.
Good old Helen. We love
Auntie
her.
Helen. I got no shot of becoming number one, but I'll take 3.
Okay. No, that's cool.
Take
Okay.
3. So it's a tiny country school, 150 kids. And then I went to high school in Hamilton, at Hamilton Boys High, one of the best rugby and rowing schools in the country. I wasn't a big
Still
kid.
to this day.
Still is. No thanks to me. I was way too small to do either rowing or properly play rugby.
Did you do either?
I played a little under 50 kgs,
Yeah.
and then a little under
Under
65
50.
kgs.
I love it.
As I got a bit bigger, I graduated,
Yeah.
and a bit of football and a bit of cricket, and the usual sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
Nice. And did you do, what kind of subjects were you interested in at school?
A lot of English.
Yeah.
I liked a bit of math. Really didn't do too well at school.
Neither. That's fine. Look at us now.
Technically, I didn't get my level 3,
Yeah.
and I didn't get university entrance.
Yeah.
So I had to go to a bridging course at uni. And then I got my bridging course to get UE. But then by that point, I was like, I'm kind of sick of this.
So you didn't go to uni?
I didn't really go to uni that much, so I failed.
No, I didn't finish level 3 either, so it's fine.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Look at us now.
Couple high school
We're
dropouts.
Oh, my mum's like, Taylor, you can't say that. I'm like, listen, I sort of
It's a
am.
different world. You
I
don't have
know.
to go to uni to be successful.
I know,
man. You can just-
and like I always, this is so funny. Every time like you'd hear a high school dropout, or like see someone, or like know of someone, or like you saw it in the movies, they'd always be like cast to seen as like the someone who was like just not good at anything and like a low life or anything. But I'm like, no, I'm a good person. Like I'm good at things, and I still like dropped out, so it's fine.
I think it's a different world. I think like in the 90s and maybe early 2000s, when our parents were probably growing up, and
There was like a very like strict like lineage of what was going to happen.
right? You go to high school, you go to uni, you get a job, you retire from that job, you die. That's just the life path.
Kind of morbid when you
That's
think
what
about
was.
it.
But now I think we're in a point where you don't have to go to uni. You don't have to go and finish all of high school. You don't have to do this one linear path. You can go away, you can try different things, and you can come back, and you can go do creative things and then come back. I think we're in a much better place as a society with people being able to kind of choose their own path a little bit. Like I was talking to my cousin about that the other week.
Yeah. No, I agree. I definitely agree with you. Okay, let's chat wrestling. Like I said, I have no clue about anything other than like the tiniest little bit of WWE.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me just, when we'll get more into it, but can you talk to me about the basics of what wrestling is as a sport?
Yeah, well, it's a really tough question.
In terms that I'm going to understand.
Yeah. I like to think of wrestling as performance. It's a performance. It's a story that we're telling. So wrestling is so much more than just a move. It's the characters. It's the story that we tell in between the moves. And that's what good wrestling is. Wrestling is us taking an audience on a journey, getting them to fall in love with a character, getting them to hate a character. They want someone to win. They want someone to lose. And then they get an end to that story, whether it's the finish that they want or the finish to the story they don't want. But they're invested.
Yeah.
So we tell a story with our bodies
Yeah.
and the things that we do.
So sort of like underdog versus villain type of
Yeah,
stuff.
sometimes.
Depending on who you are.
Depends on the character. You could have the massive hero taking on the tiny little... Can I swear on this?
Sure,
Yeah,
go
the
for
tiny
it.
little chicken shit bad guy who kicks people in
If
the
you
balls.
got to swear, you got to do better than shit.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll get there. But, you might have the massive hero taking on the tiny chicken shit villain who just kicks people and cheats, and everyone wants to see him get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
It's like King Joffrey.
Yeah.
Everyone wanted to see him die. You could have it the other way. You could have the massive bad guy. You've got Thanos, and then Spider-Man or whoever the small hero is taking him on, and he's trying to chop down the tree bit by bit. You could have two good guys going up against each other, trying to have an honorable match to see who's really better. There's all sorts of stories that we can tell, and I love being able to tell those stories and take an audience on a journey.
Wow, I love that. I never thought of it in that way. That's really cool. So how did you get involved in wrestling?
So I moved to Auckland in 2016, and I knew absolutely nobody. I knew the girl I was dating at that point, and I knew the people that I worked with, and that was it. I've been watching wrestling for a good few years, and obviously my algorithms on my social media knew that.
Sorry, how did you start watching wrestling?
Well, I wasn't allowed to as a kid. My mum thought it was too violent for me.
No.
And then when I was 19, I was flatting. It used to be on the box on a Saturday afternoon. Me and my mates in my flat would watch it. And then they all sort of stopped watching, and I just kept loving it.
Yeah.
And then obviously my algorithm on my social media realized I liked it. Spat out an ad for a tryout to be a wrestler.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, that's a good way to meet people. It's a good way to make some friends in Auckland.
Interesting way to meet people as well.
I was terrified.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrified. I was freaking out the night before. I thought I'd just email and just say I was sick.
Oh, no.
I really didn't want to go. But I woke up on that Saturday morning. I got on the bus, head out to West Auckland, and I went out and met all these other people who were all interested in the same thing as I was. I did the tryout. One of the hardest things I've ever done physically.
Oh, really?
After going from not working out or doing any sort of real exercise at all for a long time. In the tryout, it was running, it was squats, it was jumping, it was push-ups, it was all of this. It wasn't so much to see where your baseline fitness is. I mean, yes, that was a part of it, but the biggest part about it was just to see how much heart you had.
Yeah, resilience.
Now, are you going to give up?
Yeah.
Because I remember I was midway through, and there's a video of this in our training Facebook page, which is really embarrassing still. But I'm squatting, and I come up, and it's 102, and then it's 103, and I go down, and I don't come back up. I just collapsed, fall into my ass.
Oh no!
And I really thought that I wasn't going to get invited back. And that Sunday, I'm lying, I can't sleep, my legs are stuck like this.
Yeah.
I jump into the shower, it's hot water, I'm rubbing deep heat, lavender
no.
oil, tears streaming down my face because I can't bend my leg. I finally get them to extend. I get out of the shower and I duck walk my way back into bed. I'm lying there and then I just feel it, just slowly cramping back up again.
Oh shit!
But Monday night, I got an email back being like, "Hey, we want you to come along to train on Wednesday. It's your first training."
Did you nearly not go after that experience?
Almost didn't go. Yeah, I kind of wish I had skipped that first one because the first thing we did was duck walks.
Oh,
and I couldn't bend my legs properly still. So.
You were thinking, why me?
Why me? Why did I decide to do this? But every week it got a little bit better and a little bit better.
Just like with anything, I guess.
Exactly. Practice makes perfect.
And at what point did you start taking it like more seriously, where you looked at it as like, maybe I'm going to do like professional wrestling?
Well, when I started, my goal was always just to have one match.
Yeah.
I just wanted to do it once. I wanted to go out there. I wanted to be a bad guy. I wanted to get a group of 150 to 200 strangers to hate me. I want to get my ass kicked. I want to lose, and that's it. And I'm happy with that.
Is that just like to prove to yourself that you can do it? Yeah.
That was all I wanted, was just one match. And then I had one match. And then I had another. And then I had another. And then I started tag teaming with a friend. Yeah, you kind of get addicted to it. The feeling of performing. There's just something about it. It's so different to anything else. I mean, you could go and watch a play. But a play is rehearsed and it's written. And you know what you're going to get. You could go watch improv. And improv is the exact opposite. It's not planned. It's not structured. There's no overarching narrative going through. And we're kind of the perfect mixture of both.
Between,
where I know the story that I want to tell in this match or over this series of matches against this opponent over this year period. But if I do something and the audience reacts a certain way, then that changes what I'm going to do next. Because personally, I'm a bad guy. Yeah. I'm the worst. I'm the fucking worst. Mike, if you think, what would someone do? And you think, what's the worst possible thing you could do in that situation? That's what I would do. That's
no.
Showtime Will Stone is just a fucking terrible guy.
Are you like that in real life
Absolutely
or no?
Not. No,
so
it's
like
the complete opposite.
How do you channel that sort of energy? Because like my parents always tell me I need to get more mongrel with me, but I just can't do it.
It's just something about it. I don't know. I just kind of like flick a switch. I hear my music. My music helps get me there.
Do you like a specific playlist?
I got a playlist, but I got a theme song as well.
Okay.
The Showtime Will Stone theme song.
Yeah.
I just kind of, you just mug a little bit. You just get angry. You get pissed off. So,
Are there like specific things that you draw on? Because when you said you kind of like draw on specific like feelings, like you get angry and stuff, are there like specific emotions or like things that have happened in your past that you draw on to get that like sort of aggression or annoyance or anger?
So I think there might be.
Yeah.
There's songs that I'll listen to and they'll just like kind of make me feel like I'm the shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because that's my whole character's thing is that he thinks he's the best. He thinks he's the man. He's pretty talented, but he's not as good as he says he is.
Yeah.
His mouth is gonna write all these checks, and he can't cash them.
I love it.
So I got to keep cheating.
Yeah.
To run away from the people that are trying to cash those checks.
Interesting. I find that so interesting. So when you were like just starting out and you were kind of deciding what sort of character you want to build, did you have anyone around you who was like, oh, I think you'd be good at this sort of character, or was it kind of just all on your own?
So, I mean, I'm now in that position with a lot of my rookies. What I do now is I do a lot of coaching with the young guys coming through, and I was really lucky that I had a good group of vets, like a Charlie Roberts, a Jack Sheehan, guys around who are cool now, some of my best friends, who were able to guide me in that direction. So it wasn't just me trying to come up with a character. They helped me find the right one.
Yeah.
I tell my rookies now, come up with your first character as soon as possible. And they say, why? And I say, so you can come up with your second.
Yeah.
Because your first one's never going to be good.
Yeah.
My first character was the hired assassin, Will Stone.
Okay.
Where my whole plan was I was going to come out in a suit, all black, and I was going to be just this badass John Wick kind of guy. I'd beat people up. People would hire me to beat other people up. Not realizing, of course, that I don't look like I can do that. I don't look like that. I'm not him. I'm not him.
Oh my God.
And the moment I lost, all the credibility for that character is just
out the window.
And if I'm debuting,
up the creek without
I'm
a
not
paddle.
fucking winning, right? I'm not good enough to win.
Oh my God, this is hilarious.
So the first character sucked. I think it's a great character for the right person.
Yeah.
But in that instance, not for me. So I was lucky that I had people around me to say, hey, that might work one day. Let's think of something else. Something else that's a bit easier.
Today is not that day.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a question then. From the little you know about me, what sort of character do you think I would be? Like a fairy or?
I mean, a fairy could work. My question whenever whenever people tell me their gimmick ideas for a character, I say, well, why is your character a wrestler?
Oh, well, I wouldn't be a wrestler.
Well, that's the thing, right? You got to think of a character. I mean, from what I know about you, I think your character will be someone who just loves sport. Yeah. And the character would be, right, you've excelled in this sport, you've excelled in this sport, you've excelled in this sport. Kind of like a Mr. Perfect. Okay. Who was a wrestler back in the 80s. His whole thing was that he was just the man. He'd have all these videos of him shooting three-pointers and, playing amazing rounds of golf. Yeah. So your character would be, you've crushed it at all these other sports and you've got your sporting knowledge and background to pull on that, and you've found a new sport where you want to come and just be the man. Okay. I like it. I reckon I could do it. Maybe. Maybe not, but maybe in a couple of years we'll see. Maybe a couple of years. Give me a couple of years. Come train with me. I'll teach you how to wrestle. Okay, yeah. I'm not sure how good I'd be, and I'd probably laugh the whole time. But we'll see. What's the wrestling scene like in New Zealand? Because like I said, I feel like the only sort of wrestling knowledge I have is from WWE. What's the wrestling scene like? It's pretty good. Yeah. It's pretty good. I mean, I say pretty good. We've got a lot of work to do. That's something that I'm pretty passionate about, is trying to make our scene as good as it can be. And that means we try not to just gas each other up. If there's things we can do better, we try and do those things better. I like that. There's some companies in Auckland. So there's my company I wrestle for, IPW. There's another company, Warrior Wrestling, who I'm involved with. There's the Hughes Academy of Professional Wrestling. There's Legacy Pro Wrestling, who just started. They're quite new. Then in Wellington, you've got places like Capital Pro Wrestling. You've got Valiant Pro Wrestling, who I've wrestled for, and know quite a few of the guys down at Valiant. Then in Christchurch, you've got Unified. I think it's Unified still. Yeah. Maybe it may have changed. And then in Dunedin and Invercargill, you've got Southern Pro Wrestling, who I've also wrestled for a lot. So we're kind of spread out all across the country. Primarily, most of the wrestlers are in Auckland. Yeah. It's where the most companies are, where most of us are, most training schools. Which is like with most things. Most things. Yeah. But there's opportunities to wrestle in Auckland, there's opportunities to wrestle in Wellington. I've been in shows in Christchurch, I've wrestled in Napier, I've wrestled in Wanganui. Yeah. I've wrestled in New Plymouth.
Nice.
Wrestled in Whangarei, Dargaville.
So like a lot of like
Tauranga.
smaller like places as well, not just like the big Snoke in Auckland.
Yeah, you know, we'll go on tour every now and again.
My gosh, how did I literally know, like, do people, like, still do, like, are there shows on, like, now?
Show's on now. I was at a show at Te Atatu Community Centre last weekend.
Oh, maybe I should go watch.
And then I'll be in another show 2 weeks from now, I think on the 23rd.
Okay.
And Te Atatu.
Do they have, like, seasons in wrestling? Like, you know, with, like, rugby, there are, like...
just all year.
Okay.
The only time we really take off is Christmas, New Year's.
Yeah.
So we'll have our last show. It's night before Christmas. It's a big December show that we have every year. It's kind of like our season finale.
Yeah.
So we'll close off some stories at that and maybe start some new ones. And that's always every December.
Yeah.
And then we take a good month and a half off, come back in February.
Cool. What is the training like for wrestling? Because I always see you posting with your mate in the gym. But what other stuff outside of like gym work that do you do for like wrestling?
Wrestling is... Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, because you were saying before we started that like there are different techniques and stuff that you use to make it like a little bit less like painful, or so talk me through all of that.
Well, wrestling is one of the hardest things, or it is the hardest thing I've ever done physically.
Yeah.
I tell people, because you've got to be, you got to have a gas tank like a marathon runner. You got to be explosive like a power lifter.
Yeah.
But you also have to be strong, and ideally you have to look good as well.
Yeah.
You got to kind of take all these different aspects of fitness and chuck it all into one package.
Yeah.
So, you know, going to the gym, getting buffer, getting stronger, running on a treadmill, all of that's helpful. Yeah. But it's not going to make you a good wrestler. The only way to really be a good wrestler and get wrestle fit is to get in the ring.
Yeah.
Ring fitness is second to none. Because you're not just... I know when you play other sports, you're sort of running and you're thinking with your brain a little bit. But with wrestling, you're really thinking.
And do you find, because like you see like that other sports, how like you're running and you're thinking, with wrestling I'm assuming there's not really much downtime to think about your next move. It's very much all
it's
like
all
quick
on
thinking.
Instinct. Yeah. So, you know, there's a muscle memory that you have to build up first and foremost. There's a thing called a bump. So every time you take a punch or a slam and you land on your back, you want to be doing that exactly the same way.
Oh, not for me.
Every single time. So I've taken thousands of bumps at training on shows just to get that muscle memory. So every time I do it, it's uniform, it's consistent. There's front bumps, there's flip bumps, there's side bumps, there's spike bumps, which will be land on top of your head.
Jesus Christ.
Which are not fun. And that's all stuff that you can do on your own. And then it's about taking those bumps and then putting someone else in the equation.
Yeah.
So, right, how does it feel when someone gives me a suplex? It's not just enough for me to be able to flip in the air and land on my back by myself.
Yeah.
I need to know what that feels like for someone to do that to me, or someone to throw me over their head, or pick me up on their shoulders and slide off the back. So it's that muscle memory of figuring out what all these feel like. So when you're in that position, you do it the same way every time. You don't freak out. I was training for 10 months before I had my first match. Yeah. And that was on what we called a student show, kind of like a little showcase for the kids coming up. Yeah. I wasn't on my first actual IPW main show until a year of training. And that's what I normally tell people. It takes about a year to a year and a half of training before you're even close to being ready.
For sure. So it's definitely not like a game like rugby where you like go to a sign-up day and they chuck you out there and you're just playing a game. Like there's a lot of work that like goes into it.
Yeah. No one really... I mean, there's one guy I know, Jamie Tangata Esse. I hate him. I fucking
Why?
hate him. I hate him. And I'll send this clip to him. So I fucking hate him. Because we started on exactly the same day. He is so talented. He's so handsome. He's so just like big and strong. Yeah. He's charismatic. And Jamie, you're just like the nicest fucking dude. I don't have a bad word to say about him. Yeah. So he's like the one person I've met who would probably start quicker than a year. Yeah. You know, he was ready 6 months in.
Wow. Okay.
But he's the exception, not the rule.
Yeah.
Normally it takes people a year and a half. So people look at a guy like him and they're like, I could do that. I'm like, brother, no, you cannot.
Do you find a lot that you see like a lot of people joining and they have like these really like out there ambitions, like I want to be ready in 6 months, and do you find it hard to have those conversations, or are you just like, this is kind of what you're looking at?
It's the reality of the situation. I think people come in, I felt that way when I started. I had these big dreams of starting nice and quick, but you know, reality brings you back pretty quickly. Yeah, we don't really have to have that conversation too much, because people will start training and they'll realize just how hard it actually is.
Yeah, for sure. And you talked about like like landing on your back and like landing on your head and everything. How do you get yourself like used to that sort of stuff? Because like it's not like natural to like land on your back and like get body slammed and stuff. Like I'm just gonna be so honest. There's no way I could do it. Like there's just no way.
You and 99% of the world.
Yeah.
That's probably the hardest thing to learn, is to unlearn the fact that your body doesn't want to do this. Because when
it's like a neural pathway.
When we teach people about bumping, it hurts less the harder you go. So if I was taking a front bump, I am standing up and I am slamming my face as hard toward the ground as I can.
Are you guys like wearing any like protection, like especially around like the head area?
You just turn your head and you just land like this. So I'm like this when I land. Sorry, I'm like this when I land. And I've had to learn how to do that, because when I first started, I was...
it's like natural.
Your arms are out because you don't want to get too close to the ground.
Yeah.
So you've got to unlearn all these things that we've learned how to do our entire life, and then relearn how to do it.
Did you find that process like hard?
Pretty tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be even tougher if I ever need to go the other way. Like, I couldn't throw a real punch if I wanted to.
Oh, really?
I couldn't, if I was in a fight, I couldn't punch someone.
Why is it just because you've learned a specific way for so long?
I've learned how to not punch people.
Yeah.
I've spent 7 years learning how to not hit someone hard when I punch them. So even if I was in a real fight, I'd run in, full head of steam.
Do you really think so?
I think I would.
Do you think adrenaline wouldn't take over, or?
It's just that it's that ingrained into me, I think. I would really have to focus on swinging through.
Yeah. That's so interesting. Okay, we've kind of gotten a little bit more in depth about it, but I know you had so much knowledge and you're super passionate about the sport of wrestling. Can you go like a bit more in depth for me, and like what, for example, does like a normal fight show or like show scene look like? Run me through all of that, because I find it really interesting.
So we're not the big leagues in New Zealand here. We're grassroots.
Yeah.
That's what we tell people. We're kind of like a Sunday football league.
Yeah.
So everyone helps out. Everyone pitches in. So on a normal show day, we'll head to our training gym. We'll have a group of people, whether it be some of the older guys, the rookies. We'll go to the gym. We'll pack up the ring. So our ring is in West Auckland. It's always set up for training. We'll pack it down, put it in the back of a truck. All the equipment we need. So that's our lighting, that's our trusses, our guardrails, and we'll take it all to the venue. From about 2 o'clock, we'll go ahead and start setting that ring up. And that takes a good couple of hours to get right. Then once the ring's set up, the chairs are set out, you already know by that point who you're wrestling and what story you're going to be telling us. So you'd find your opponent and you'd have a chat with them. You'd have a little korero. So you go, right, I'm winning. Say it was you and me. Yeah. We already know that you're winning, right? You're beating me.
Okay.
Let's go with that. And we know the story that the bookers are wanting us to tell. The bookers are the guys who come up with the stories and put it all out there. So we know the story they want us to tell. And then we just kind of get in there and start mapping it out. Yeah. So we'd talk. We'll go, right, well, we'll do this and plan it out. Eventually we'll get into the ring. Yeah. If we've got a 15-minute match, we'll probably spend about 10 minutes or so just walking it through. Just kind of walk and talk. So here we go. If there was a specific thing that we wanted to try, then we might try that. Yeah. See how that feels. Probably about 4 or 5 o'clock at this point. We have a pre-show meeting. Everyone comes together, talks about what they're doing to make sure that no one's doubling up, doing things that other people are doing. Doors open about 6:30. Get into your gear, warm up, stretch. Whatever time the show happens, and you're ready to go out. Music hits, you go out, you have your match, you come back, get your feedback, take your lumps. There's always going to be feedback. Yeah. And then if you're filming a promo afterwards, maybe you stay in your gear. The show ends, film your promo, get changed, pack the ring down, go back to the gym.
Massive day.
It's a huge day. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I get a bit lazy these days. Yeah. And I don't do the full 12-hour day that I used to. Yeah. I used to do when I started like 10 a.m. until probably 2 a.m.
Wow, okay.
Because you're there setting up, you're packing down. And then I'm counting the time at Denny's afterwards as part of the day. Okay. Denny's is the only place that's open.
Oh, really?
At midnight.
Not even like Macca's or something?
I mean, Macca's is open, but it's usually just a drive-through.
Oh, yeah,
and there's so many of us.
I don't think I've ever been to Denny's in my life.
Denny's is pretty good. We used to go to the Newland Denny's at 1 a.m.
Oh, really?
Every few weeks on a Saturday night.
I think there's one round in like Wairau Park on the North Shore. I think that's the only one I've ever seen. So interesting. I didn't realise people still went there.
I'll tell you, don't order anything other than breakfast.
Okay. Okay, got you.
You get a
I'm
burger.
intrigued now. I want to go.
It's a burger or breakfast.
Okay.
Don't touch anything else.
Okay, noted. In terms of, because from what you've told me, it sounds like a lot. You know, it sounds like a lot mentally, physically, emotionally, all that sort of stuff. How do you, one, keep going for so long? Because it sounds like you're super passionate about it. So I don't think like passion would ever be an issue. But how do you keep yourself going back and like wanting more and wanting to improve more, especially like when like it's tough, like it's hard?
I mean, it is that passion. It's knowing, and I think for me, it's about having other guys in the scene that I'm really close with that are better than me. And knowing, you know, that I want to be as good as them as a performer. It's guys like Tatahi Vinidan, a guy's been doing this for 15, 20 years. We call him Koro. Helps and comes with trainings, and he's just such an experienced guy, and he's a real mentor to me. Really helped me figure out a lot of things. He's like my best mate, Jack Sheehan, super talented, knows exactly what he's doing, was one of the guys who actually taught me, and now we're training together. So it's seeing guys that are better than you. And they're still wanting to get better. Because this guy's better than them. It's a real trickle down. And I get really frustrated when people don't want to get better. And they're
just in wrestling or just in life in general?
Oh, in both. But especially in wrestling. I mean, for me, people pay money to come and see me perform. Which is a weird thing to say. That people pay money to come and see Will Stone get beat up or beat someone up. Or now right now, because I'm retired technically. So I'm not really wrestling, I'm just performing. But people pay money to come hear me yell at people and talk some shit. So
is that a weird concept to you?
It's a bit weird. It's not something I've really expected. But if people are paying money, why would I not want to be the best version of that I could be?
100%. I agree.
And so, you know, a lot of us have that same mentality that people are paying money to come see us, and it's the least we can do to put on the best show we can. And so we keep working, and we keep getting into better shape. We keep getting better at wrestling. We keep going to training. And that's what really helps keep me pushing forward, is seeing those other dudes who are better than me and knowing that that's a level that I want to hit. Yeah,
for sure. This might be a big question, but how has wrestling impacted your life, good or bad?
Nothing but good. I mean, well, I did get a pretty rough concussion a couple of years ago. Which caused me to get a lot of migraines and meant I actually had to retire from wrestling. So I'm not an active wrestler anymore. So that was kind of bad, I guess. But
apart from the concussion.
Apart from that, wrestling gave me a community. It gave me a family that I didn't have in Auckland. It helped me meet my best friend. I was the best man at his wedding. And it's only because of wrestling that we even know each other. It's helped me meet people that are going to be in my life for as long as I'm alive.
100%.
And it's given me a lot of confidence. You know, I wasn't a hugely confident guy. I'm still a pretty big introvert. Like stuff like this is a big deal for me, trying to get out of my shell.
Don't worry, same with
me. A little bit. But performing in front of, 200-300 people, that's crazy that I can do that. And I feel comfortable and happy doing it. Do you think it's because you love it so much that you find it, you don't really think about it? Because I know for me, like when like people want me to come and speak and stuff and like, or, even do this sort of stuff, like I love it so much, and I know that like anything, like any fear or whatever, it doesn't really matter because I just am so passionate about it. So is it the same for you? Yeah. I mean, I love performing, but it's also not me up there. Like it's a different version of me, and having that different version of myself that I can kind of tap into whenever I need to for certain things is always helpful. I had a games night a month ago, and I'd never met any of these people before, and I had to kind of play kind of cool. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just be a little bit of Will Stone. So I'll be a bit of a
just sprinkle a little bit of
Will Stone. Bit of a dick to everyone. And then I met someone again a bit later, and they're like, I think we got off on the wrong foot. I'm like, no, I'm so sorry.
That wasn't me.
It's not who I really am. I was just playing into the game. So.
Just to clarify, that was Will Stone.
Let's not get it twisted.
What has being a part of the wrestling world taught you about life?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
You can think about it if you want.
I think consistency. Consistency in showing up. You've always got ways that you can get better. And I think knowing that there's always another level for you to reach, especially in wrestling, has really taught me a lot about life, that I'm never going to be where I want to be because where I want to be is always moving. Yeah, for sure. I love that. Is there anything from
your like wrestling training or kind of showmanship that you implement in your day-to-day life that helps you?
I mean, the best piece of advice I ever got was, and again, this is, people aren't always going to like this, but I asked for some advice. I said, can you give me some advice before I go out for my first match? And I just got told, don't be shit.
Oh, okay. Love that.
Don't be shit.
I'd be like, and what does that mean?
So that's what I thought. But
Give me more.
it's the best advice I've ever been given. Because the way I interpret it, and I give that advice to people, and I can kind of feel it, I can pick a little bit about them by how they react to it. But it's basically me saying, I've seen you train. I've seen what you can do.
Believe in
I know
yourself.
what you can do.
Yeah.
I know that you can go out there and not be shit. So don't be shit.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a weird way of just saying do your best.
Yeah. No, I like it. I'm like, implement that on my day-to-day life as well.
So, day to day, I just say, right,
don't be shit.
don't be shit.
Yeah.
Easy.
And that's like also like you can still have a bad day and still not be shit
Not be
as
shit,
well.
yeah.
So it's very like, it's not like saying you got to do one thing over the other. It's just like, don't be shit.
Don't be shit.
Don't be shit, people. From Will.
Good advice.
Yeah, good advice. Okay, let's switch gears a bit and chat about Red Bull. What's your role at Red Bull and how long have you been working here for?
So I'm a field sales strategic analyst.
Oh, fancy.
Bit of a mouthful. And I've been here since September of 23.
Okay, and what does your role sort of encompass?
There's a lot of spreadsheets.
Apart from taking people up 27 metres above Auckland City.
No, that's not really in the job description, but I did get a day in lieu for that, so
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah, okay, nice.
No, I mean, my job is really assisting the field team, the guys who are actually going out and doing the real work. My role is just making sure that they're visiting the right stores, and then looking at what happens with the stores that they do visit. So if are we visiting the right stores, and when we do that, are we seeing an actual marked change in behaviour after that?
Yeah, and we already talked a little bit about it at the start, but you didn't go to uni?
No.
No. So what sort of qualifications did you need to get to work here?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of guy that I just like learning things. I like numbers.
Yeah.
And I mean, my career path, I dropped out of uni. I started working at Kmart. And I went from Kmart to Genesis Energy.
Yeah.
And that taught me that I liked teaching and facilitating.
Yeah.
And then I moved to Auckland, so I went from Genesis to AA Insurance.
Okay. Wow.
And at AA Insurance, I spent a year on the phones and then started working in a more specialised team, which taught me again about how much I love facilitating and training. But it just gave me opportunities to learn a lot of things that I didn't know that I wanted to learn. So work with numbers, work with reporting, work with Excel.
Yeah.
And I just had the opportunity to just throw stuff at the wall and see what worked. And what I kind of enjoyed about that. And then when I applied for a role here, it was a huge career shift for me, going from facilitation and teaching to data management.
Yeah.
But that work on those reports that I used to do kind of set me up for this. But again, even now, it's still sometimes just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what works.
Yeah,
but it's
for
having
sure.
the freedom to be able to
Trial and error and see
try
what
those
works.
things and go, right, well, this is what I want the numbers to tell me. Let's work out how I can make that happen.
Yeah.
And I'm surrounded by people here that are, again, better than me at that sort of stuff. That are at levels that I want to reach. And that helps me continue feeling like I can still get better.
Nice.
And see that growth come through.
Yeah. I think one thing that's like really stuck out to me about this whole time we've been chatting is that you're really, I'm not sure if passionate is the right word, but you're really into like growth, whether it be like physically, mentally, in your work life, in your wrestling life. Where does that sort of like growth mindset come from?
Couldn't tell you.
Maybe just from not being shit.
Don't be shit. Yeah. I mean, it's evolve or die, right? Adapt or die.
Right. Yeah.
That's the thing. So I feel like if you're stuck in the same place, there's nothing wrong with being in the same spot. I want to make that completely clear. Nothing wrong with being in the same spot if you're comfortable. But if you can, I think you should always be trying to better yourself. I've spent the last 30 years getting better. Yeah. And that's why, I mean, you follow me on Instagram, you see all the Instagram photos I take at the gym. It's not just because I like the way I look or I'm a narcissist or I'm
also, I meant that as a joke.
No, but I take it because I like to look back at how far I've come.
Yeah.
You know, I was playing under 65 kgs rugby. When I started wrestling, I was a stick figure. Yeah. I have a photo. Have you seen Men in Black?
like ages ago.
I don't know if you remember those little cockroach aliens that like
Oh
coffee.
my god, yes.
That's what I look like.
No, you didn't.
I did. I was like just a stick figure.
Oh my god, I could
There's
not imagine
nothing-
you looking like that.
There's nothing to me. I'm not a huge guy now. But
Yeah.
Like compared to where I was, I just like looking at how far I've come.
Mm.
So I take the photos, and I make the little collages for myself.
Yeah.
To see what's changed
Mm-hmm.
and where I've gone, and I check my weight. Not that people need to check their weight. If you're not a weight kind of person, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I am.
Mhm.
So I like seeing when I've put weight on, I've lost the
Yeah.
weight to get to a goal, and just constantly changing and evolving. And that is something that really helps me feel like I'm moving in the right direction.
Do you think that, just from what you just said, do you think that you are scared to stay in the same place? Or not scared, but like you'd much prefer to like evolve rather than stay in the same place and like look back in a year from now and be like, oh, I'm still in the same place.
Well, I mean, I'm a real creature of habit.
Yeah.
So I love doing the same shit always.
Are you like very routine?
Very
Yeah,
routine.
same.
I spend 6 hours baking bread every Sunday.
Oh my god.
That's
Actually,
my
I think
go-to.
I've seen a little bit of that. I'm like, maybe I should start.
I'm a baker. So I love baking. I love doing the same stuff. I love routine. But I also know that that's not the healthiest thing for me to do. So even though I'm doing baking every Sunday, I'm baking new things.
Yeah.
I'm trying new recipes. I made some beautiful garlic knots the other week.
Oh, don't tempt me.
You know? Me and my girl made some buffalo wing sauce garlic
yum.
knots. So we dipped them in there, and then we had some homemade ranch on the side, and we're dipping our buffalo garlic knots in the ranch, and it was just.
It's nearly lunchtime as well.
But that's still baking. It's still doing
Yeah.
the same shit, but it's doing something new. It's moving forward.
Yeah. Where'd the whole baking thing come from? Because I feel like wrestling and baking just
Very
don't
different.
go
Very,
hand
very
in hand.
different. I do want to open a little market at some point.
Oh, cool.
It's going to be stone made.
Oh my god, how perfect is that?
So-
That's genius.
Yeah, the whole thing's going to come full circle. But
Yeah.
I've always loved baking. It's good for the soul.
Yeah.
So I bake bread, I bake cookies, I make a mean pizza base,
Yeah.
all sorts.
Nice. You said that it fascinates me a lot that like for something like wrestling, you've got to have like a persona that's like super confident. And yes, it's not you as an individual, but it's still a part of you. Like you've still got to go up there and perform that. Why, or like how do you think you being an introvert, like as just Will, as in day-to-day Will, and then being like this confident, outspoken, Will Stone, how do you think those two kind of characters or personas complement each other?
It's just polar opposites. Polar opposites.
Do you think because it's so opposite to you, it's easier for you to detach from one another?
So yeah, because some people go, right, well, my character's going to be me dialed up to 11. And I go, well, I don't want to just dial myself up to 11. Maybe there's certain parts of me, like
Yeah.
it's me being confident dialed up to 11.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
me being a little bit of a dick dialed up to 11. So it's just, but it's different parts of me that you dial up, but it's an amalgamation of a lot of the things that I want to be, but also don't want to be put
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, interesting. I find it really interesting because I think from people that I've talked to, not just like on podcasts and stuff, people that do really well in life are usually on one hand like public facing, a completely different persona to what they are behind closed doors. And I always find that super interesting, and like I wouldn't say I'm like that, but I think like with talking to other people it's made me realise that having confidence in yourself is actually okay. And I just find it interesting that you've done that through wrestling and like brought that into your like normal day-to-day life.
Didn't even realise that was
Yeah.
a thing that people did.
I think a lot of people do it.
Bit of a mask.
Yeah, I
and
think
just-
so, yeah. Well, I think for me, like this podcast isn't about me, but I think when I was younger and like getting bullied and stuff, I think I just put on this mask because I was born with something that's a little bit different, and it's like, okay, how can I morph myself into something that isn't me so that people will like accept me, or like I'll fit into like the societal box. And I think as I've gotten older, I've just realised that I actually don't give a fuck. So I'm just like myself, and it's tiring not being yourself as well. So I
it
think
takes it out of you.
yeah, 100%. So and I find that kind of duality quite interesting. Yeah. Let's get back onto Red Bull because we went on such a tangent just then. What does like a normal day-to-day in your life look like? Because this is my first time at Red Bull HQ here in Auckland, and I could like live here. It's so cool. So
It's a really cool office.
It is.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I'm very jealous. What's like a day in your life look like?
I normally arrive here a little before, a little after 8 a.m. I walk up, to the kitchen. I make a coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really eat breakfast too much. I might go a bit of fruit.
Yeah.
And then I'll head to my desk and I'll just start working.
Yeah.
And then it's work, spreadsheets,
Yeah.
reporting, pulling data, talking to my boss, asking if she needs anything else.
Yeah.
She'll let me know if she needs something else, so I'll go ahead and do that. Might have a meeting.
Yeah.
Jumping in and out, and then lunch from 12 to 1.
Yeah.
Usually.
Nice.
Take a break.
Yeah.
Normally go for a wee hikoi.
Yeah.
Walk around Ponsonby, stretch my legs a little bit. Come back, work.
Yeah.
About 4:35, finish off what I need to get done. Pack my bag up, and I fight in traffic for an hour and a half to get
Love
back
it.
to West Auckland.
Love Auckland traffic. My favourite thing in the world.
And yeah, it sucks.
Especially when it's raining. Like,
There's nothing good about it.
Oh, I know. I had to leave, like, because I live over on the shore, and I was like, it's raining, it's just going to take longer. You just know when it's raining in Auckland. For some reason, people forget how to drive, or, like, there are more cars on the road. I don't know, but it's just, like, you got to leave, like, at least an hour
And
earlier.
you were still here half an hour early.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know. Oh, I have to be early wherever I go.
That's a good way to
it's
be,
like
though.
I'd rather be, like, 3 hours early than, like, 1 hour late. It's just, like, a little thing that I have. Was the Red Bull cliff diving event, which is where we met, was it like your first event with Red Bull?
First one.
Okay, and would you want to do more?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you enjoyed it?
It was crazy fun.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Because I heard about it. I'm like, oh, we're doing cliff diving. It looks cool. It's just people jumping off a thing, though.
Yeah.
You know?
You like don't really get the hype.
I've seen guys do manus off bridges my entire life.
So
you know?
true.
What's the difference?
Yeah.
What's the difference? But then you see it, and you go up to the top of that tower, and it's incredible.
It almost takes you back that first time, and
Yeah.
you're like, whoa, okay, we're up here.
And then seeing them, like realizing that they're actual athletes. I couldn't stay for the whole day on the Saturday.
Yeah.
When I was sort of finished with the tower walks, it was 2:00. I've got a little dog, my son Pip. It's actually his birthday.
Oh,
today.
is it?
Happy
birthday, Pip.
Happy birthday, son.
How cute.
He's 4.
Oh.
So I've been away from him all day.
Yeah.
And so I had to go home, check on him. I left the door open for him, but
Yeah.
I just feel bad being away from him, especially on a weekend.
Yeah.
Like, that's our time.
Yeah.
So I missed all the dives on Saturday. And then coming back on the Sunday, being able to watch it for the afternoon, it just was crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh, it's incredible what they do. I think one thing for me, like with Red Bull, and why I find it so interesting and like cool to work with, is that it's not like a normal sport. Like Red Bull don't work with like your typical like athletes. They work with like people who are like pushing the boundaries.
People that really live the brand.
Oh, 100%. And I think it's just like, it just blows my mind that those people were like doing handstands like 27 meters up. And I was just like, you've got a lot of trust there, doll, because there's just no way.
I'd be nervous about the wind. And they're
Oh,
just
yeah,
hanging out.
100%. I don't think my core strength is that good to like hold myself up there for that long. For people that are interested and like listening right now and working at Red Bull, from someone that has landed a job at Red Bull, what would be like your one piece of advice for someone who wants to work at Red Bull in the future?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Because I feel like Red Bull is like quite an edgy, like
a really
there's
cool
like a
place to work.
specific type of like group of people that Red Bull go for. So
You do definitely have to be the right kind of person to work with us here. We've got a saying about having the best 11 players. So essentially it means we want the best people working for us. It is the hardest job I've had as an adult. I am working harder than I ever have before. But, you know, if you've got the right work ethic, if you're the right kind of person, if you're open, and you just really fit the vibe, and you're ready to work hard, then you could definitely come in and work with us in the team. We're a pretty small company, which feels weird to say. 'Cause it's Red Bull,
a little bit weird.
you know, we're just a small part of a larger global team. But our company here and our team here is actually pretty small.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of opportunities that come up.
Yeah.
But, you know,
When one does.
if it does, you keep an eye on LinkedIn, you keep an eye on Seek. I found Red Bull on Seek.
Oh, yeah.
That's where it came up for me. So just keep an eye on things that are coming up.
Yeah.
And just be aware that the process to actually get the job is quite long.
Yeah.
Because we do need to make sure we're hiring the right kind of people.
100%. What attracted you and made you want to apply to work at Red Bull?
Well,
Kind of everything you just said.
I was really happy at my last job.
Yeah.
The only reason I was looking to move on was because I wanted to, you know, move career a little bit, something that would set me up to hopefully make a little more money in the future.
Yeah.
But also give me some more career progression opportunities and move on to a new company.
Yeah.
And then Red Bull just kind of stood out to me. It was a brand that I knew.
Yeah.
It was still in Auckland, and the role description itself really sounded interesting to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Sounds like something that I'd love to do.
Yeah, cool. I love that. Sticking on kind of the same advice piece, but circling back to wrestling, if there are people listening right now who like want to get involved in wrestling and are a bit unsure, what would be your one piece of advice to them? What would you say to them? Sell it, Will.
Message me directly. Message me directly. If you are interested in becoming a professional wrestler, whether you want to be a professional wrestler actually wrestling in the ring, whether you want to be a manager, or you just want to be a referee, or you just want to learn about the sport.
Oh
you
my
want
God,
to come
maybe
to
I could be a referee.
We're always looking for referees.
Okay.
A good referee worth their weight in gold.
Okay. I'm not sure how good I'd be.
The worst. But a good referee, amazing. No, if you are at all interested in learning more about professional wrestling and training to be a professional wrestler, anything at all, message me on Instagram, Twitter, wherever.
Nice.
I've got an email address, will.stonepw@gmail.com. My actual wrestling
Love
email address. I think it's in my bio on certain things. But yeah, just message me if you're interested in being a professional wrestler. I'll send you the right people.
Nice.
We've got about 20 or so trainees right now in our rookie class, which is incredible.
Cool. That's cool.
So I'm in charge of our rookies.
Oh, cool.
Teaching them the basics, from day dot, teaching them the right way to do things.
Yeah.
I've got a tryout in a couple of weeks where we're going to have another huge influx of people coming in. But, we're always interested in having new people come along and learn about the sport, learn about what we do. Or even if you just want to buy tickets.
Maybe I'll be the person buying tickets because I just don't see that in my future. Before we wrap it up, what's next for Will?
What's next for me? Well, 23rd of March, the Te Atatu Community Centre. We've got IPW Seeing Red.
Okay.
And then a couple of months after that, we've got the Eliminator.
Cool.
On May the 4th, which essentially is our version of the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
So, two men start. Every 60 seconds, another one comes out. You got to get thrown over the top rope to win.
Oh, wow.
20 entrants. Some are surprises. Some are announced ahead of time.
Yeah.
So my boy, Alex Savage, he's my pick to win.
Mm-hmm.
He's going out there.
Okay.
SAS, Savage and Stone. And I'm excited to go out and watch him probably win the Eliminator contract.
Nice. Okay. Confident. I like
Always
it.
Confident.
Before we fully wrap it up, is there anything else you want to say? Anything you want to add? Any messages, pieces of advice, words of wisdom?
I mean, I live my life by 3 key tenets.
Okay.
So it's don't bullshit a bullshitter.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be shit. And trust the process.
Mm-hmm.
And I say if you do those 3 things, then life's pretty good.
Nice. I like it. That's a good way to end. I like it. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I've so enjoyed this. Like I said at the start, I literally knew nothing about wrestling, and I feel like now I could probably go out there and wrestle someone if I wanted to, but I don't.
If you wanted to. As long as you got me to back you up, I can trust most people. So
yeah. I'll pretend to go out, and then it will just be you in the back doing all the moves and stuff.
You're sweet, yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you to Red Bull for hosting us. The studio is so cool. If you find me in here at any point, just leave me alone. Thank you so much, and that's it.
Easy.
Awesome. Thank you so much.